So good morning, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. So please let the record reflect that I dressed up for you today, but I left my jacket in the bag. So there's one thing I'd like for you to do before we get started. If you would, please, take your right index finger and push the power button on your monitor. And just turn the monitor off for a second. There we go. Much better. Okay, so I've got a little bit of information that I'd like to give to you about presentations in general, and then I'd like to show you how to use the Prezi tool. Has anybody ever used Prezi before?
No, but I saw you.
I've seen it in a presentation.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool technology. It does have its limitations and its drawbacks. One drawback is that it can't, print out a presentation like PowerPoint does, which to me is a drawback, but that's just my opinion. So before we get started, just a little bit about the rest of the hour. We might only have 10 to 15 minutes of actual stuff to talk about. The rest of it will all be hands-on exercises, hands-on things that you can do to create presentations. And a disclaimer, I have already violated my own rules, and that's why it says, like I said, not like I did, because I did want to get some information up here in writing for you. And then you can clean it up when you actually do some of the exercises in a little bit. So first of all, I guess the first thing I'd like to do is start with a clean joke. Except nobody had one that was clean enough to tell. So the only clean joke I can think of off the top of my head is, let's see, how many computer programmers does it take to change a light bulb? None. None. It's a hardware problem. Hardware problem. Yep. So anyway, that's the only clean one I know. So what I'd like to do is just give you a few ground rules for presentations itself, and then I'd like to actually go to the back and walk you through the concept of getting an account and talking about Prezi a little bit and creating a brief presentation. Creating something that is animated on the screen. And then give you the time to actually repeat it and come up with a presentation. And if you can come up with something really, really good and you want to share it with anybody, we can go to this computer, log you in, and take care of it. So first thing, I guess there are 100 different types of lists that say what to do when you're giving a presentation. 10 tips for this, 10 tips for that, and I have appropriated some of them that I like. And the first one that I like is talk to the audience. Give the audience what they want. Know your audience. So I would normally exercise that by coming in here and asking who does what. So the question might be something like, do we have mostly faculty in here or mostly staff, or is everybody here from Rockingham Community College? So let's just do a quick survey. How many faculty are in faculty? What do you teach? Oh, okay. Well, you know all this stuff then. Okay. Okay. Any staff in here? Okay. So you often have to do presentations, don't you? Yeah. So that's the thing. In the military and in higher education, people are always doing presentations about all kinds of stuff, trying to impart information, which is a good thing. And we do it to a lot of different audiences. So rule number one would be to know your audience and know the people that you're talking to, and if at all possible, know what they want to hear to start with beforehand. The concept of less is more is very important. I've been in presentations that just make everybody go to sleep. I was fortunate enough to go to a presentation down at Fort Bragg. My brother-in-law was promoted to general, and so there was a presentation and briefing for people who had retired from the military, and it was all in PowerPoint, and the guy read every single bullet item. Now, if you did that to your students, what would your students do if you read bullets? Yeah, they'd pull out their phone and start playing on their iPhone. I teach a math course for another university in the Raleigh area on Tuesday nights, just because Wake Tech doesn't let me in the classroom very much. And so I know when I'm getting bored because people start doing things like this. they'll kind of slink down below their desk and pull out their phone, and they're doing the iPhone prayer, you know, heads bowed like that. So so don't read anything to them. Less is more in a lot of cases. And one thing that you can do to stimulate thought on their part is to, instead of putting up a bunch of text that talks about a concept that you want to illustrate, it's a good idea to put up a picture that illustrates that concept, and then you talk about it. When you put up a lot of a text, people are going to start scribbling notes and writing everything down. But if there's nothing to write, then their attention is on you. And so when you're in the classroom, you want their eyes to be focused on you, on what you have to say. Otherwise, what would the college be paying you for, right? So, so less is more. And you can actually suffer from overload in presentations. And what I mean by suffering from overload is that when you do have a lot of text, and that's probably about the limit of as much text as you want to get on a screen. When you have that much text, people are going to try to start to write everything down, and you know, their attention and focus will go away from you. And when it goes away from you, there's no telling where it will come back to. So it could come back to their iPhone. It could come back to their neighbor. It could come back to the ceiling tiles. I wonder how many holes are up there. You know, that sort of thing. So it's always a good idea not to try to overload a whole bunch of information on a single slide, but just to try to get something up there to pique their interest into hearing you talk about what you want to talk about. When I did the presentation a little while ago, Christine was in the back and I was saying, well, I finished with 1 minute to go, if there are no questions. And I got to tell you, I did time it and I did practice it. And my wife is so sick and tired of hearing about it. So I practiced. I was mumbling to myself on the couch while she was trying to watch Hawaii Five-0. And she is Hawaiian, and so she loves that show. And she finally went to a different room and got on a different TV. So it's always a good job to time it and present it, know what you're going to say, and know about how long it'll take. Otherwise, you know, there's a possibility of people getting bored and wandering off and that sort of thing. So there are lots of different presentation tools and techniques that you can use. Almost everybody in the world uses PowerPoint. And frankly, I can't even say hello without PowerPoint anymore. And most instructors are like that too. I teach 2 classes a semester for a nearby university, and I get these course packs from book publishers, and you know that stuff is great, but everybody uses that, and the students nowadays demand to be entertained. So there's really you don't have to use PowerPoint all the time. You can do things like as low tech as a flip chart, just to write bullet points on a flip chart and go page by page by page, just whatever it will take to keep people's attention. And one disclaimer is that no matter what you do, people's attention will falter. It will go away after just a few minutes. So by the end of this hour, if I were standing up here talking the whole time, I guess, let's see, it's about 11 after now. So by maybe 15 after, somebody would say, oh, I wonder if I have any email, you know, pull their iPhone out. So one of the strategies that you can use is use newer types of technology that people don't normally see, newer ways to present information, whether it's a flip chart or whether it's PowerPoint or whether it's a Prezi or something else. So Christine wanted me to show you a couple of things about Prezi, and I got to tell you, I was mispronouncing it for the last couple of years. But I'd like to show you a brief video on the Prezi website, and then run you through the exercise of creating a presentation that's accessible in the cloud, and maybe talking a little bit about the cloud for you, and then we'll try it. We'll actually go online, go to that website, create an account, then create a Prezi, and whoever has the best one will be able to demonstrate it to the class. So what do you think? Does that sound okay? Sure. Is there anybody who already knows that they want to do a demonstration? Most people don't want to get up in front of anybody, but so I'm going to just come back here, and if we'll leave the camera on the screen there. Okay, Prezi is a cloud service, and what I mean by that is you're using a client that is going to connect to a server somewhere up in the sky, and your data is going to be stored there. You're going to have to create an account so it knows who you are, and you'll interact with that server that's off campus. That's a good thing because so many people have information stored up in the cloud that they're going to make sure that they have backups and they have redundant circuits and everything else. So it's available almost 100% of the time. I can tell you from my painful personal experience that college infrastructure is not available 100% of the time. And unfortunately, we had a Blackboard issue just last Saturday, right in the middle of final exams. It died about 6:30 and didn't come back up until 11:20 that night. And you would think that somebody had gone and taken away their birthdays. They were sending ugly emails to the president and everything else. So it's good to have a cloud service because they have such redundant infrastructure and everything else. So as a bit of an introduction to Prezi, I just want to play this very brief video so you can get a better idea of it. I'm sorry. Let me start that over again since the volume was down. Okay, here you go.
In life, ideas are constant. Every day is a barrage of suggestions, concepts, and proposals. Most get lost in the shuffle, and too many are forgotten. But one remarkable idea is going to spread, light people up, change the world. Will that idea be yours? From inspiration, through concept development, to illustrating the story of a lifetime, Prezi is about creativity and the visualization of thoughts in motion, helping you tell stories that get embraced, shared, and take on a life of their own. It is only through the sharing, evolution, and acceptance of an idea by others that its impact can be measured. Ideas matter. Prezi.
So I hope that what this brief video demonstrates is the fact that it's the concept of what you're trying to get over that's important. The technology really isn't that important, but it's what you're trying to say to the students or to your audience that you're trying to present. That's what's important. And so I'd like to introduce the concept of linear thinking versus lateral thinking. So linear thinking versus lateral thinking. So to illustrate that concept, I'd like to ask, how is the money that you have on you stored right now?
Debit card or credit card?
Okay. So how do you store your cash, though? No cash. Okay. So okay, yeah. Okay, it's in the cloud. Well, so okay. Here's the difference between linear thinking and lateral thinking. So my wife, she, bless her heart, she, this is how she carries her money around. She'd get a handful of it, wad it up, jam it in her pocket. And so then she'll go somewhere to buy something, like to McDonald's to get a biscuit or something. And she says, okay, wait a minute. And she's pulling out these crumpled up ones and straightening them out. Wait a minute. And if you've ever been behind somebody like that in line at the checkout, it's enough to make your blood pressure go up. On the other end of the spectrum, all the bills in my wallet are sorted by denomination with the heads all facing the same way. And that might be a little anal retentive, as the psychologists call it. But that's the difference between a linear thinker and a lateral thinker. Some are, the lateral thinkers are supposedly more creative and go from point to point to point to arrive at a conclusion, whereas a linear thinker is somebody who'll go concept A, concept B, concept C, and then derive conclusions from a logical sequence of a bunch of different steps. PowerPoint is linear. Unfortunately, research shows us that the biggest percentage of the population are lateral thinkers, and that's why software like this is good for presentation. Even though I would probably prefer a list of bullet points, I might be in the minority, and most people prefer to be able to see the big picture and then go individually, take a look at individual components. So about Prezi then, Prezi is a tool that allows you to present to lateral thinkers. It allows you to present to creative people who like to see the big picture first. Since it is a cloud service and it's web-based, I'd like to take you on a brief tour of their website and then a brief discussion of how to actually create a presentation, and then we'll do the exercise then of creating a login ID. So first of all, here's the website. Not a whole lot to it. All of it's marketing information. When you log in, let's see. When you log in, you'll get a screen that looks a little bit like this, except you won't have any Prezis down here. There are several that I have, and might I point out too that Prezi is a free service. It's free, but you only get a certain amount of storage. So it's sort of like crack dealers in the movie. The first rock is free, and then after that is $10 a piece. I saw that on Cops. So it's free. You get up to 100 megabytes, and I'm nowhere near my limit now. And you can also download these files so that you can present them offline. So it works offline or online, but preferably with an internet connection. So what do you want to do if you want to create a presentation? Well, let me just go through that briefly. I'm going to click on the new button presentation. And when I do, I am presented with a list of options, a list of templates. And there are a number of different templates that I really, really like. As a matter of fact, once you see it, you'll say, oh, that's how you did this presentation. And you could have done that in about 10 minutes. Well, the truth of the matter is I did do it in 10 minutes because it's so easy to use. So there are blank presentations, journey presentations, and all of these templates are created such that they want to give you a methodology to present certain types of ideas. So, and it depends on the audience that you're presenting to. So if you're presenting to a class, then you're going to just want to have a lot of different information all at once. If you're a staff member presenting to the President's Executive Cabinet, you might want to be doing a sales pitch, and so you might want to do something like the journey or the big idea, something like that. If you're, let's see, here's something that's good specifically for workflows. Like if you have a new workflow in the registrar's office, and you have a new way of doing things, that workflow Prezi is the perfect way to do it. So let's say I want to do a sales pitch. So talking about a process of going from point A to point B. So I'm going to click on the journey and click on choose. So basically what you have here is a large canvas, and the canvas is zoomable. So what I mean by zoomable is that this is this whole area here is your canvas, and the canvas is such that you can put something that you have to zoom in on, magnify, and that's what gives the Prezi its movement. So I'm going to just put a title here, My Big Idea. It's cool, man. So I can come in here now, and I'm going to click on this object, and this object is part of the template, and this is what's called a frame. I'm going to select Zoom to Frame, and now everything else has grown up size, and this has shrunk down so that I see only what's in my frame on here. Say, whoops, 0.1. It's cool, man. So there's my first point. Now, what you see over here is something that's very similar to what you might see in PowerPoint, the slide sorter view. But it shows you what frame you're on, and the frame is a concept that is a little bit different from PowerPoint because you have this whole canvas here, and then you have one little piece of it which is a frame, and then you can zoom down under that. So for instance, if I want to put a subpoint down here, I can click on Frames and Narrow and say, I want to draw an invisible frame. So I'll come down here and I'll draw an invisible frame, and I'll put it in 4:3 mode since that's what our projector is in. I can click in here and then do zoom to frame, and now it's going to go down and make that take up full screen. Let's say I want to put a picture in here. I hope there are some, let's see, some pictures in here. Libraries, pictures. Oh, wow. A farm in the rain. That looks interesting. Okay, so I have a nice picture here. So let's zoom out, and I can do that just by moving the wheel of the mouse. I can zoom out back to the original entire canvas. So if I want to take a look at the big idea then, here's everything that I've got. Here's the first frame, and then there's the subframe up under that. If I want to get back down, I can click on that, zoom to frame, come over to the picture, click on that, zoom to frame, and there I go. And then I can even put a frame within a frame within a frame, which might give people vertigo, but we'll do it anyway. So I'm going to click down here and zoom to frame and put some text in. What should I say? How about, it's cool, man. Yep. So I don't like that color, so I'm going to edit the text, highlight it, and come up here to select a different color that's a little bit more contrast. Let's see, let me make it a little bit bigger too. So notice the background. The background is the picture that we were on. And if I come back here to the frame and I start to present, here I am in full screen mode. And so what we have on the screen here is the whole entire canvas of what we're looking at. And you would put ideas and concepts in step 1 of this journey, step 2, and this step 3, step 4, finally ending in a conclusion. So if you're doing a sales pitch or you're trying to present to a group of faculty or a group of staff members and you want to lead them to a certain conclusion, then this is a great tool to do it. And it should keep people's attention at least for a little while because it's kind of new and people are going to be wondering what you're doing next. So if you're presenting this, you start out at the big canvas, then you go to the first frame, and notice we put the second frame down there, which is the picture. So my next click will go to the picture, and then I can also go to the next subframe. It's cool, man. And I can back up that way. So if I'm all the way back on, let's see, all the way on the subframe, according to the presentation, the way it's set up, I haven't put any subframes, so the next frame is going to be that second circle. So when I click on the advance button, it's going to zoom back out and then go to the second frame in which I have not yet put any content. So the concept behind this then is that you're working on a canvas and you've got frames and subframes in which you can put content. Content can be text, images, audio, and you can also put video as well. So how would you go about getting set up to be able to create one of those? Well, first of all, you have to create an account, and I'd like to demonstrate that very briefly before I cut you loose and ask you to do it. So I'm going to exit out of this. And when I want to show you this too. When I click on your Prezis, notice that it's saved right here. It says Untitled Prezi. And if I wanted to come back and change that, I'll just say, delete me. So that's what I named my presentation. So now, how do you get an account? Well, I'm going to come over here and log out. To get an account, all you have to do is click Sign Up and ignore all the stuff that asks you to ask for money. But you want the public Sign Up Now account. So you would click on Sign Up Now, enter all this, and then sign up, and it's going to create an account for you and fix it so that you can immediately log in. So your first exercise then is to go ahead and create your account. I would recommend you use your your college supplied email address. You can use any email address, but I use a, sorry? Oh, what? Oh, sorry. The URL for that would be prezi.com. It's Prezi.com. Yeah. Yeah, can't really see it from here. So Prezi.com.
What if you want more memory? Sign up for it. Is that?
Sure.
I mean, I wouldn't need any, anytime in the next couple of years.
Yeah. So when you put all your information in, it's going to you're going to get the Prezi logo with a little animation going around the outside of it until you come to a point where it says, okay, you're in, you can create things. So I'm going to log in, and just so you know, this is what it looks like when you log in. You just put in your email address and then your password, and Zoom, there you go. So I see some people in already. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So any questions about creating an account? Yeah. Oh. Any questions about creating an account? All right. Well, we're off to a good start. Now, your assignment now is to create a sales pitch presentation. So you have a new idea, and it's up to you to come up with whatever idea you want, but you have a new idea that you want to present to the president. And you want to be able to tell the president that if he adopts the idea that you have, then it will it'll make the world a better place, however you define that. So based on what I showed you just a little while ago, I'd like to cut you loose for the next 5 to 10 minutes to see what you can come up with in terms of creating a presentation. And so I'll just kind of float around the room to answer questions as you work. Any questions before we get started? While he's logging in, let me tell you, you can also download a specific app for this on an iPad or an iPhone, and also an Android device. So you can present truly from any device, any internet-connected computer anywhere in the world, including a smartphone or an iPad. So while you're working on your presentation there, let me give you a couple of hints. This would work almost just like PowerPoint in terms of getting in videos or getting in pictures and things of that nature. But it is a little bit different if you're trying to cut and paste pictures. So for instance, if you go on Google and you do an image search for a picture that illustrates the concept that you want to get, you can just click on it, Control-C to copy, then Control-V to paste it into your Prezi. And I see a couple people doing that and figured that out pretty quick. But you might want to take a second or two just to see if you can embed video or PowerPoints or something in it. And as you go through your presentation, if you want to see how it looks, as you're editing, there's a button up on the top left. As soon as it comes up, yeah, right here, just click on the Present button, and then allow it to get full screen. And then you can use the left and right arrow keys or the mouse click button to go from frame to frame to frame to the next frame, et cetera, et cetera. And so you might want to take a look at that and see what happens if you put an object in on the canvas and you don't put a frame around it, how it'll skip over. And also the ability to rearrange the frames on the left-hand side of the screen is important as well. Okay, so ding, 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 time is up. So a couple other little things I'd like to show you before we see if there's a brave soul that would like to share what they've created with the audience here. So creating a presentation is fairly easy, as you can see. There are a couple of other things that you'll want to know about. Number one is, what if you don't have an internet connection? Well, you can come up here to share, and then say download as a portable Prezi. When you download it as a portable Prezi, what it does is downloads a zipped up file with an application program and your content, and then you can put it on a laptop or another computer and present it without being connected to the internet. The other thing that you can do from the share button is to download it as a PDF, and what it does is everything that you have a frame around, it's going to take a snapshot of it and put that on one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in landscape mode. And that's basically the only printout of the presentation you're going to be able to get. So those two things in share are quite important. One question that we had is, how do you insert additional frames if you have more points that you want to make? Like here's point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if I wanted to do a sixth one? Well, I would just come in here and draw another circle frame, put it right there. It automatically goes to the end, and see, all done. Lastly, to be able to present to an audience what you've done, you would click on the present button and go into full screen mode, and you can use your left and right arrow keys to navigate between all the different frames, or you can use a remote presenter like what I've been using to do the same thing. To get out of the presentation, you simply press the escape key and you're back to where you were. So any questions about how to start a different, start a presentation or stop it or add additional points? Okay, so if there aren't any questions, is there anybody here that feels brave enough to share with the group what you've created?